What's going on today, everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day. I know that I am, because we're back working on this thing, and hopefully we can get this thing running and get it driving and back up and on the water. So last time I had it out, I was out, got stranded in the middle of the water. It was running great, idled, I fell off, it was idling, caught back up to it, went to take off, and it sputtered and just died. And then I tried starting it, nothing happened. Well, lo and behold, something was wrong with the electrical system. Went and pulled the E-box out of it and completely swamped full of water. I don't know how, but it had been in there for a while. It was pretty crusty stuff. So, went ahead, we've got the E-box cleaned, I've got a bunch of stuff ordered, and now we're going to switch this over to a nice enhanced system, and that way we can upgrade everything. Since I was already going through the hassle of getting the box out, getting everything clean and sealed up, I wanted to do it right and do it once. So I went ahead and I got a whole new system for the internals, because my igniter and there was a couple things that just weren't working, as well as the wires. There was a lot of the wires that were completely corroded and crusty. That water had been sitting in there for a while. So let's take a look at what we got, our problems, and then we'll go ahead and start getting to this install and making this work again. So here's the current state of everything. The E-box is actually sitting over here, all cleaned up, fresh paint, and ready to go. But the wiring on this definitely needs some help. So these wires have seen some better days. They've got holes in it kind of everywhere. The fuse has got a hole in it. And then this wire is completely disintegrated on me. And I think this was where a lot of my problem was, and then it started shorting things out. So I'm just going to go ahead, redo everything. This is with it somewhat cleaned. You can tell it's been sitting in the water for a while. So we'll go ahead, get everything replaced inside of here, build a whole new system. I got a whole new MSD system sitting right here with everything I need inside. Parts galore. So let's go ahead. We'll start taking some of this stuff out, setting it aside, getting ready for the new install. Sure. All that water that's down there, that's what was in the E-box. It was full all the way up. So that definitely can't be good for it. So somebody has definitely been inside of here, because that's not an okay connection, especially on a ground. So we're going to change that. We've got all of our parts laid out. You can see kind of how old everything is. It's been in there a while. These are starting to come apart. There's just lots of little things that are just problematic. So we'll go ahead, change it out. Here's what I think our main culprit was. This wire was attached to the regulator right here, and it's just completely toast. It doesn't even want to stay together. So we've got some fixing to do on some stuff. There's some things I want to change. This definitely can't be good. So we've got some things we need to change. So let's get to fixing all these electrical issues, and then we'll start putting some stuff probably in the E-box. Maybe we'll put it in the E-box and then fix some stuff. Because like this I don't need to fix. That's garbage. That's all garbage. That has to be fixed. This has to be fixed. This has to be fixed. So we'll fix these things and throw that stuff away. That electrical definitely has seen some better days. So we'll go ahead, snip that off, and put a new one in there. Well, the damage is turning out to be extensively more than what I was hoping for. So I've got lots of things that have damage all over them. With that, this fuse thing is going to be a problem, and I wanted to clean the interior bits so that it had something to contact. So what I did, took a small screwdriver, pushed on the other side, managed to push it on up. I'll pull it out, and then I'll have to resolder a wire onto here with the right connector going through this rubber boot. So it will still be usable. It'll just look different with a new wire on it. So go ahead and we'll cut this off, and then we'll get this end is the end that we need because it has the fuse that the fuse actually sits into. So the fuse goes in there, and that's what holds fuse in there. So get a new wire through this guy, start building a new fuse holder. Well, that was way more wiring than I was really hoping to do, but everything should be good now. Everything tests out, everything's tested, so let's go ahead, start throwing some parts on it. First thing I want to throw on there is our new MSD Enhancer. So this thing's gonna be slick. I can't wait to get this thing out on the water with this enhancer. Well, as you can tell, it's a new day. I ran into some problems last night, and I wasn't coming up with a quick and easy fix last night, so we slept on it. I think I got a plan going forward, but this MSD Ignition, this relay, this power relay, well, it's a big overpowered starter relay, which is awesome, but it's also big. So the old one, first off, I'll show you kind of what I got going on. I got the E-box kind of set up on where I think it has to go. It's a little bit too tall right now, which is fine because these brackets are way too wide for what I have, so it's not going to work the way that it was intended. You just can't get it bolted down, plus it's the wrong style. So we can make it work. We're going to have to modify a couple things, but I think if we just modify a couple little things, we'll be good to go and on a roll. I would order the right one, but I'm trying to go out tomorrow, and it won't be here for at least another week. So we're gonna work with what we got and make it happen. So I got the E-box kind of sorted together, and you can tell that it's got a little bit of a wobble to it, okay? Well, that's because this is just a little bit too tall. So here's the new one, and here is the old one. The old one's a little bit shorter, as well as significantly different sized. So this one sat in this rubber mounting bracket, and this one has bolt downs. That's fine, but I need to put it in here somewhere, and it's supposed to go right about there. Well, it's not gonna fit, not at all, because I need the rectifier over here, sit in that. We just got a jumble of mess, and I need to figure out a way to make this work. I think if I cut these metal tabs off, get rid of my mounting brackets, and shave just a little bit of this guy, I think we can be in good standing for getting this installed and out on the water tomorrow. So here's a little bit nicer view. So this thing is actually supposed to be in there, I believe, like that, to give us the maximum amount of room for all of our wires and everything, which it probably will still go like that, but I'm gonna cut these metal tabs off right here and then epoxy it down. I want this to kind of sit, I think, in there like that, so I can get by everything. We'll see. It's gonna be tight fit between here, but I think if I shave a little bit of this off of the bottom, shave these down, it should be able to just epoxy to the ground, give me the clearances that I need. If I need, I can cut these bolts off a little bit shorter because it only takes an eyelet going on it. So there isn't much going above here. With that, I've got some work to do. So we'll take this back out. We'll cut the mounting brackets off and then shave just a little bit of this guy and get all the clearances we need for this to go in here. Hopefully like that. It might
Might behoove me to put it in like this. We'll see. I got some work to do, but I'll cut these off and then we'll do some figuring on this, see if that will actually go in there. We'll see. We'll see. Well, it's modding addiction for a reason. So I've gone ahead. This fits perfectly now. I've got lots of room in there before it actually hits. But that's all because we took one of these pegs out. So I still have one. If I absolutely need to, I can go back to this system and still have the one. It's just a rubber isolator, nothing super exciting. But we got enough room now with putting this guy all the way up against the enhancer, all the way up in the corner, and we could flip this over and everything seems to work out fine. So I'm gonna take and shave off a little bit of this so I have more room. This is plastic, so it's not the end of the world if it's touching, but I don't need all that room to put this one ring terminal on there and a nut. So we'll just take that down a little bit, give us extra clearance, go ahead, bolt this guy down, and then epoxy this guy down, bolt this down, and then we'll work on this and the wiring. Somewhere in that order, I think.
Well, I've gone ahead and I've kind of got the rat's nest figured out. I hope so. Fingers crossed. So I'll go through it in a second. But for right now, I'm trying to get it started. I want to see how it's going to react or if it's going to work or not. With that, I got to get the insulator, the wire, the plug wires built. So I've gone ahead and taken the stock ones for the lengths of everything, but now I have to build them. So these are build to fit kind of plugs. So let's go ahead. We'll get to building this. I'll show you how I'm doing it, and hopefully we can get it done pretty easy.
I've already got one of them done, and it was definitely a learning curve on what I needed to do and what I really didn't need to do. So first time I put this on all the way, and I don't need to. It's just not necessary. So we'll go ahead. I've got my mark already marked right here where I want this cut. So we'll go ahead, cut this, and start getting it ready using their sweet little tool that they got. Ouch. Using their sweet little tool, we can go ahead and make it, crimp it. So we'll go ahead, get everything set up, and then we'll start showing you how to do this.
So on this tool, you got two sides. One side's for bigger wire, one side's for smaller. I think it's 8.5 and 9mm. We got 8.5s. So go through, put this through to where we want it. Get it all the way to my line. That's where I want my plug to be. And then we'll go ahead and cut it off. Got it cut off just with some dikes. Toss that to the side. Grab our razor blade. Get it pinched through. And then we'll just rotate the wire. Keeping pressure to cut it all. Now hope we've got it all the way cut through. Now we'll go ahead, rotate it counterclockwise to break whatever's left, and then pull it off. Now the fun part. So I went and I messed up and put the boot actually on first all the way through, and then I thought about it and the boot just goes straight on. So we're not going to do that this time. We're going to make sure that we're facing the same general direction as the one I've already got, because I went through and made sure that it was facing the right way. Take our needle nose. We're going to bend these clips. The outside of these clips need bent in just a little bit, so we'll bend those in. Now they're bent in. They'll crimp a lot better. Go ahead, put it on here all the way through. Now make sure it's going the right direction. Looks about right. Now I have to crimp it just so slightly so I can get it inside the tool. So get it crimped.
Okay. Now grab the tool. There's a side with metal and a side that has plastic. We'll put the metal on top. Slide it in. I put it just barely coming out. Put the back side on. Now, I have a vise, but I'm not gonna go take this all over to the vise, so I've gone ahead, grabbed a big C-clamp. Make sure those two molds are touching. Give it a tug test. Perfect, that one's not going anywhere. Now our vise grips, needle nose, put them right here. Go ahead and crimp the bottom. We'll make sure that that piece is pushed down. The actual electrode part, not the insulator. Push down, and then we'll crimp it. Now that both ends are crimped, let's go ahead and throw the boot on. Makes it a little bit easier for some grease. I have some WD-40. Make sure it's pointing the right way, and now it's done. Check it. Works just great. So now we'll go ahead and test for spark, see if this is sparking, because it wasn't sparking before. So now we'll watch that, make sure there's some spark coming through there. When I bump it over, my power cable is connected. Give it a quick bump. So yes, we do have spark. Awesome, so now we know we have spark going to everything, which we didn't have spark before. I pulled my boots off and they wouldn't spark anything. So now, let's put it together and see if it'll run. Then I'll go through all this hodgepodge of wiring with you guys. That's awesome. It started up, and it started up actually really, really well, but I forgot that it broke down in the water and the water box is full, and now I've got a big old mess of water sprayed everywhere in the garage. So, alright, let's go ahead. Let's pull this box, I guess not out. I just need to figure out my wiring situation. I got to get a couple things sorted out and then cleaned up, because it's tough with mine because all the wires were pretty much toast. So I rebuilt a lot of it so the wires aren't going to look the same color, same exact color. I tried to color code them, but there is some random color where it has, it's my red has red with a blue stripe on it. It's just it's the gauge of wire that I had. So let's go through, let's look at that mess and get to it. So welcome to the life here, and let's look at what all of, I think the best thing to do is we'll grab this guy right here, because these ports have to come out a certain way, right? They've only got a certain thing that can go certain places. So if we put this in, this sits in there like this, right? The fuse is on the bottom. That means all of our tops are right here. We got two on the side and two on this side. So if we're looking at it, this side is for our two cables right here, our spark plug cables, and then we'll go to the top. And then I've switched mine around to where I believe this one's the battery, this one's the starter, then this one is the overheat, the pink one, and then these are the two wires going to the stator. I believe this one's the stator, and then this one's our finger controls, or the starter stuff, buttons. So we'll go through, this goes on like that, and we'll go through and look at it. Actually, it goes on like that. That's a lie. It goes on like that. So for reference, it's technically, here, I'll go around the other side. This side's a little bit tougher to see from, but I think it's going to be the best looking at the box like it goes in there. So the box will go in like this, up against the bulkhead, I guess would be what we're calling this. So box, cool. All the stuff comes out the top, and both sides, nothing comes out the bottom. Okay, so now we've got nothing coming out the bottom, and then we've got two on this side, two on this side, and three on the top. So our two on the right side, easy. That's our spark plug wires. fine, dandy, everything's okay with that. Nothing's too confusing. Now, the first one that's coming across the top right here, so this first one is going to my battery. Got my battery connected to that solenoid. That solenoid's hanging out in there. And once I get some pressure on this, that solenoid will set better with that epoxy. It won't rip it out. So remember, we had to change where this was mounted so it would work. So battery comes off the battery, goes to the the MSD enhancer. From the enhancer, it goes through the fuse. I had to rewire my fuse, so yours isn't going to look like this. Goes back through, comes into the Y to the bottom. Wow, this is just tough to explain here. I'll unhook that. So this one I had to connect. I made my own connection for all the handle, the start-stop stuff. So this is my own setup. Yours won't look like this. Hopefully, I don't like these connectors. They're not that great. They're not super waterproof, but it's what I have on hand. So I want to go riding tomorrow. We'll put it together real quick and slap some electrical tape over it so I can go ride, and then I'll fix it later. With that, all the handle stuff, that's coming into the bottom side of this connector, right? So it's coming in right here. The top one is the stator stuff, so that's where your two green wires come from, are going to the top. So there's those three things. So the easy stuff to figure out where they go is the actual coil right here. The coil, that has two. It has a red or an orange and a black coming off of it. Those go to the two that's orange and black. Easy. That one's done. Then the starter solenoid. Let's go with that one next. The starter solenoid has your two powers. One power comes in front of the battery, one, and then exiting to the starter. Easy. The top one's easy. Bottom ones. One's a ground. One is a signal wire. So the ground, that's easy. Goes to the ground. Signal wire comes up and attaches to the signal wire of the handle loom up here, which is the brown wire in the loom coming from the handle. Yes, the brown wire. That's the signal for the starter. So that tells the starter to go on, gives power through these, done. Now, the rectifier. Let's go with the rectifier next. Green to green, two green to green, easy. Both of them, doesn't matter, I can switch them, it doesn't matter, that's just how it's going through the system. It's going whichever way it wants to go. And then the red, let's go rectifier. There's four of them. So there's a ground that goes to the ground. The red one comes up to the handle pole and the fuse. So that splits from the handle. So that's the red one we're looking at right there. Goes up to the handle, which is this one, and comes up to the fuse. So that should take care of our rectifier. We have the four plugs, two green to green, red goes into the red, one side of the fuse, and then the black one goes to ground. That's easy. Now, what we're left with, two whites, a brown, a pink. What else are we left with? I think that's it. We should just be left with these four. So the brown one coming from the enhancer goes to the brown on the stator wire. So that one goes down to the stator down here. The white with red wire, that one's on the stator one. That one goes to the white that it will connect to. There's two whites. The white that it will connect to, it has a male side, connects to the female side with the red and white. Easy. Then the other white one goes to the handle pole up to the signals. So that one will go over to this white one, which has a different connector on it. And I believe that's it. Now the hardest part is going to be finessing this together, putting these boots in here, and making sure that everything's nice and tight and good to go. The other thing that I forgot about was the gasket. The gasket's supposed to go underneath this. So that'll be great. Now I get to do that. Won't be terrible right there. I'm gonna have to take these two off just to get to the gasket around it.
Okay, I've got the wires pretty much routed how I think it's gonna work the best. We're gonna wait to see till we get the top on. But with that, we need to put the gasket on. So I was gonna take all the wires off, and then I thought about it. If I go from the back side, I can actually loop it around and underneath everything. So we'll go ahead. I'm gonna put a little bit of marine grease on this and all the arches. That way it's just a little bit of extra insurance that things are gonna be sealed, because I don't want to go through this again. So we'll go ahead, put this on around the backside, get some marine grease on some stuff, just light coat, nothing massive, and then we'll get to hopefully being done with this thing.
So it still looks like it's kind of a big mess, and it kind of is, but we've got everything kind of where it needs to go. This needs to come out the hole that has screws on, and then I've actually installed the launch control or the soft limit switches just in case I want to. So that's just tapped into the pink and then tapped into the black. That way it just acts like it grounds it, like it's over temping, and it just limits the RPM to 3000. And then when you let go of the button, it will be full throttle. So I've gone ahead, taken some of the casing out, because there's hard corners on these where the wires are coming in, because these wires are going to have to come in and then bend up hard. So I've just kind of taken a little bit of the casing out, nothing too aggressive. That way we don't have wires that are problematic. Now let's go ahead, put this guy on, and then get that lid on there.
That the gasket is not uniform. It is actually has its own direction that goes on. There's two holes that are closer together than the other two on the other side. So it goes on one way. So double check it before you put it on. That way you don't have to take it back off. Well, I managed to get it all back together and back in the ski. It was a lot harder than I was assuming, and sorry for not updating you. Basically all I did was just fight wires the whole time. With all the added extra stuff in there, there's so little extra space that it makes it extremely hard to get all the little fittings in and tuck all the wires in and make sure that it's right. So I ended up just zip tying a bunch of stuff together and then wrapping it around the enhancer, putting it back in there, and that kind of bolted everything down, stuffed a couple wires in, and then managed to clamp it all together. With that, I also got rid of these stupid screws. So these little guys are the ones that are on the outside of the e-box. So I got rid of these. They're more of like a screw, which is fine. It works, but the Phillips head is just stripped out. If you can see that one, it's just completely stripped out, and you can't even get it tight. So went to the store and picked up some, I think it's 1/4 inch by 20, maybe 20, no, 1/4 inch by 20. These are the 1.25 inch. They're too long. The 1 inch or 3/4 would even work. The 1 inch matches exactly what these ones are, the factory ones, but that way it gives me a Allen head instead of the Phillips head, and it's not quite the right thread pitch, but it just makes new threads, and it works so much better. Go slow, take your time, because it heats up that plastic. I found out that if you just run them all the way in as fast as you can, it heats up the plastic and then blows it up. So I have one crack that I had to fix, but there you go. There's the tip. Switch it over to the Allen heads. This is marine grade stainless, so you know it's not going to go anywhere, and I can take it in and out and not have that happen. With the e-box in here now, I'm pretty sure the factory had the battery coming out of the middle one and the starter coming out of the far side, but with the relay it just wasn't happening. But now I've got an adverse effect where it's a little bit too tight coming through,
but it's not the end of the world. I still have plenty of room, and if I need to, I can pull some more out, but it's got slack in it. That's the only thing that's not ideal about it so far. The other thing is the soft limiter. I have the switch attached to the pink and a ground, so they're coming out. It doesn't really matter which one, it's just grounding the system. So it sees a grounded signal and then pretty much puts you into limp mode for a second. That limp mode just is for a second whenever the button's pushed. So I ran 2 wires out of the pink, which is the overheat temp sensor. I just drilled 2 holes right next to the plastic so it's still watertight, and then ran them down through, all the way down, up through the handhold. I gotta tuck the wires a little bit better in there, but all the way up the handhold, and let's drop this down. So it comes all the way up the handhold and then ties into quick connects underneath here. If I need to, I can just yard sale that thing and they'll come out, but then it's attached to a little momentary button. This momentary button, whenever it's pressed, it grounds that and it just puts it into a soft limit or limiter, so it holds it at 3,000 RPM, I think it said. So whenever you sit there, you hold the button, you pull the gas all the way back, it'll rev up to 3,000 and sit there, and then whenever you let go of this button, it'll take off all the way up to the 9 because I went update or put it all to the maximum. So that's awesome. Now we got lots of cool things happening. Big upgrade. It starts right up first try, no problems. And here, I'll show you that limiter. Here's a quick video of it.
So that's pretty awesome. I think it looks cool. It's like a 2-step on car, but I honestly don't know when I would really ever use it other than just playing around or racing with friends. I don't actively race the ski, at least right now I don't, but it's cool. It's just something that added. It's one, I think it was like a $12 button and a couple wires to make it have a launch control basically. So that's awesome, might as well do it. I'm sorry if this hasn't been the most descriptive video. I'm trying to, it was kind of all over the place. I had lots of stuff going on today, but if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. I gladly answer what I can and help you out the best I can. And like always, I'm going to link all the stuff that I used down in the description, even that starter relay. Now, I would do the proper starter relay, and I'll also link that down below above the one that I use so that the proper OEM one is up there. It is doable, but it's a lot of extra work when the OEM one just literally fits right in. You don't have to fight it. And it's oriented the right way. It has the tabs. It would probably be a lot better. But like I said, it's dark out. I want to go skiing tomorrow, so we'll see if we can actually get this thing out. I mean, it rips now, so let's go, and hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing shakes loose or something silly like that. But I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to enjoy my night, and then I'm going to enjoy tomorrow. So you guys take it easy. Don't have too much fun, and catch you on the next one. Peace. That started out good.